Good evening, everybody. Currently, I seem to be having some problems because the music is not coming through. So I'm gonna see if I can troubleshoot that. It's not even playing that song. Okay, so currently it says that it's playing a song that it isn't playing. Hello, hello. How's the delay, by the way? Is it good? Is it bad? Are you seeing the message pop up on screen when you send it, or does it take a little while? Maybe I'll just open Meteor stuff on Stream Elements on, let's see. Media share or media share? Okay, let's see if I can just do it through the web browser, if it's gonna be shitty or not. Maybe that's just like a thing going on with Stream Elements. I don't know. Yeah, I'll keep WhatsApp open. Yeah, I have a feeling there's something up with media request. That sucks. Like this is the evening. Okay. I'm gonna try like 2 more things, and if that's a bust, unfortunately there will be no music. Which I like to have some music in the background, but you know, that's sometimes how it is. Oh. Okay, let's let me actually check if that's the thing that's happening right now. Media requests. Stream Elements. This must be really fun. You'll put your own spooky playlist on. That's also fine. I'm currently just looking this over because this shit is really annoying. Yeah, it seems that there's just some stuff going on. Okay, at least I now have my own backup playlist, which is good. However, yeah, there's just like it seems to be just like forever loading. Loading. Hmm. I wonder if that is maybe if I have to restart, but that's... I don't feel like restarting. That's really annoying. Yeah, I should make a technical difficulties. I actually did think of making one. I haven't gotten around to it though. Okay. I'm gonna try one more time to just like make it play through. This is so whack because I have desktop audio on. For some reason, it's not playing Silent Hill. Well, anyway, I put on. It's not playing that song. Stop lying. Okay, I'm hiding this because it's gonna make me lose my fucking mind. Fuck, what overlay is it? Now playing. Fuck off. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay, that's okay. I guess today this it's a fucking bust with the technical difficulties. Also, the other watcher left because it was probably fucking annoying to hear me troubleshoot. Well, you know, I'm only human. And again, that's not what's playing right now. Yeah, I'm molding right now. That's I don't know where that came from. I associate it with Germa, mad balding. Okay. Well, anyway, what I wanted to do is draw some SCPs. So, for the one viewer right now, this is a special stream for you, Leslie. I will be explaining SCPs just a tiny bit, so you know what they are and what's up with them, and I'll also I'll have my phone next to me to check for messages if something comes up. All right, let's see. Am I human? Yeah, that is questionable. I'm just a guy. Let me rephrase. I'm just a little guy. So, this right here, gonna hide that now playing because that's not true. I'm gonna have to hide now playing fucking everywhere. Ooh, the text doesn't really show up very well against a white background. Is there... I don't think there's like a make this a dark, make this like night version. Oh. Anyway, point with the SCPs is that SCPs are anomalous objects, entities, and phenomena requiring special containment procedures. So that's what SCP stands for Special Containment Procedure. And all of them are assigned an object class. And that's just basically for writing and also for communicating what the deal of a certain SCP is. Object classes are for the purposes of identifying containment needs, research priority, budgeting, and other considerations. An SCP's object class is determined by a number of factors, but the most important factors are the difficulty and the purpose of its containment. Yeah, so the whole thing is that they're the special little guys, and the special little guys and ghouls and gals and other type people or things or beings that you know, like interact with the world in a way that is anomalous or like, you know, potentially dangerous, but doesn't have to be. And like, you know, there's like this whole like classes of like safe, Euclid, Keto, Thaumiel, neutralized, Apollyon, and Archon. This is all just a lot of stuff going on. Basically, safe just means that it's fine and they don't necessarily need to be contained, or they can be contained easily. And as it goes up, it gets harder and harder to deal with them because they're potentially dangerous to, you know, life and the planet and all of that. So here's also they got a little a cute little like Schrodinger's cat type thing going on, called the locked box test. That's a tongue twister to me. So basically, if you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and nothing bad happens, it's probably safe. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and you're not entirely sure what will happen, it's probably Euclid. If you lock it in a box, leave it alone, and it easily escapes, then it's probably Keter. If it is the box, then it's probably Thaumiel. Thaumiel, I think usually, yeah, things that they're usually SCPs that are used to contain other SCPs. If you can't fit it in a box and it's about to end the world, it's probably Apollyon. And if you have it locked in a box but chose not to, then it's probably Archon. So a lot of stuff, and it's like basically just like creative writing, but within certain like parameters and contexts. And I think it's neat. Let's see. So what I'm gonna do is just look at a list. But let me switch the list over to the user curated lists. And here we got a couple of different like SCPs, and you know, there's horror, sci-fi, comedy, religion, myths, legends, folklore, flash fiction of throwbacks. Okay, characters and miscellaneous. Well, I did say I was gonna go spooky, so I'm just gonna look. Oh, legs protruding from the ceiling. Okay, let's see what this is. Euclid, so it means that it can escape, I guess. The building containing SCP-3673 is to be sealed and guarded with the cover story of a failed restoration project. The door to SCP-3673 remains closed and barricaded. All footage recorded by the camera in SCP-3673 will be retained for analysis. A second camera is to be installed to film through the windows into SCP-3673. SCP-3673 is Studio 5C of the redacted arts building located in Lower Manhattan. The room is located on the 5th floor and was used as a ballet studio. It contains a mirrored wall with a ballet bar, roof-level windows on the northern side, and a single door. There are no other exits, so it's a ballet room. On or about July 7, 2016, SCP-3673 became the locus of a spatial anomaly. I guess focus? I don't know. Whatever. Since this time, when the door to SCP-3673 is closed, all persons inside appear to be affected by spatial distortions and related phenomena. These phenomena cannot be observed from outside. When the door is closed, no communication is possible with persons inside the studio. The room appears empty when viewed through the exterior windows. No persons who have been subject to the anomaly have been recovered. Only information about the anomalous conditions is from a CCTV camera located in the upper northwest corner of the room. Records black and white video, but not sound. Let's see. And it's just, yeah, it's just like a picture of a room where they practice ballet. What's this? An addendum. Participating in ballet lesson. Lesson is conducted. Instance. 10 minutes for children remain. They have been identified as Rebecca Jones, Amy Chang, Kyla Okonjo, and Elizabeth Telford. Chang and Telford are lying down looking at Telford's smartphone. Okonjo is practicing her arabesque. Jones is readying herself. Oh, this is a spooky tale. Finish speaking. Okonjo begins to rehearse a pirouette. As she turns, her grounded foot sinks slightly into the wooden floor of the studio. On a final turn, her image in the mirror stops moving. The other reflections continue motion as normal. When Okonjo spins to face the mirror, the reflection resumes synchronization, and the toe is again grounded on the studio floor. Okay. So it's a place. Locus relates to location. Ah, I see. I wasn't sure. So, with that, let's start drawing. So basically, it's a room. Let's see. Well, it's a room with mirrors. Okay, that's not straight at all. Let me try that again. Oh. Why can't I? Okay, I'll just do this. This is the floor. And these are the mirrors. And they have the stick in front of them. Okay. And there are people. The right mirror has a booty. Yeah. They've been doing a lot of squats. Okay, I think this is how you draw people. That's the best human I've ever drawn. Okay, and I'll give them hair. And okay, so they're just standing here. Like dancing. Like, they're just like dancing. Right? They're doing fine. They're not going through anything crazy, but like above we have the ceiling, and there's somebody who's just like standing in the ceiling, I guess. Yeah, that's a human. And they're wearing some cool like ankle socks and like 3/4 pants. I think that's something dancers wear. Okay, now comes the tricky part. I have to draw a reflection that doesn't do the same thing. So maybe I'll draw the reflection of this guy. But he's like not in the room, but in the mirror, he's just like, it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Yeah, okay. So I don't know if that, I think that kind of like shows what I'm trying to say, right? You see the guy here, but he's in the mirror. That's freaky. Maybe I should give him close. Let me give him close. Also 3/4 pants, because that's what dancers wear, I think. 3/4 pants and long sleeve shirts. Yeah. It seems like dancing attire. And then like he doesn't know what is going on. And should I draw anyone else? Maybe that's just, okay, maybe there's a person here. Okay, that's, okay. How do you draw? Okay. Whatever, I'll lose the nose, you'll know. And they're just like, whoa! Oh wait. No, I've seen that meme of like the eyes going like this. Yeah. That person is like, yo, there's some shit going on behind you. Like that's, and there's like veins, I think. Yeah. That person is like losing their mind because they're like, look there. It's you. And they're like, hey, what's up, man? I'm just dancing. But this person is like, no, you're like, okay, let me also like draw that person here. And they have like spiky hair, I guess. And the pointing, and they have the cartoon eyes. Yeah. I think at that point you figure out that I'm drawing mirrors. So that's, what was the SCP called again? It's SCP-3673. So SCP-3673. I've already drawn a whole SCP. Well, I mean not a whole SCP. I've drawn parts of one. Okay, now we're gonna draw, or the color, I mean. Let's like make this big. Mirrors are blue. Mirrors is blue, I think, right? Mirrors are like water. Okay, and I think the walls were kind of like white-ish. So those are getting this. And the floor was, I think, wood. They usually are. So it's kind of like brown. That's maybe a little dark. Let's do this. Yeah. Yeah. Then yeah, mirrors are like water. I promise. It's like something, refraction of light, blue, sky. Oh wait, water is blue because it reflects the sky. Mirrors don't necessarily reflect the sky. And then you know, I was gonna be like, this person is freaking out because of that person in the mirror, but there is somebody just like legs dangling from the ceiling. That's maybe a little crazier even. I mean, both are pretty insane considering. Okay. Okay, legs. Okay. This person is like, whoa, shit's crazy, whoa, whoa. And of course they are wearing the socks and the shorts. I don't know what dancing people wear. Drawing in the within the lines is so tedious, so I'm not gonna do it. Oh yeah, they might have not looked up yet. That's so true. That's so true. Thank you for your insight, Leslie. Okay. Some socks. Socks are usually white, right? That's the thing you see often. White socks. And then I don't know, some assorted colors like pink. Pink is a good color. And then like black shorts or something. I don't know. Okay, this person here. They're wearing like, I don't know, orange maybe. Maybe they're wearing like a leotard or something. Or leopard? It's a leopard, but it's a leotard, right? That confuses me. And this person is probably also like wearing like black black pants. And that's my SCP drawing. So let's put that in a folder and call it SCP 3673. And we put that in there. Then we hide the folder and we can start on our next SCP. Okay, let's see. What else is interesting? Oh, okay. I'm trying to... Horrific tales. Absolutely horrific tales. Okay. No, that's just a... I don't wanna... Yeah, I don't want to read a story. I want an SCP. Science bugs? What's that? Oh dear. It's cockroaches. Okay. SCP-3035 is a strain of the American cockroach that mimics the behavior and outward appearance of organisms it observes. This mimicry is superficial. For example, while an instance of SCP-3035 may reproduce the coloration and behavior patterns of bumblebees, they will not reproduce a bee's complex social network or unique form of communication. Instances of SCP-3035 will mimic each other more rapidly than other organisms. This leads to a feedback loop. One instance will adopt a new attribute, only for all other instances to immediately mimic the first instance, acquiring the attribute for themselves. It should be emphasized that this mimicry is only a shallow approximation, an attempt by some as of yet unknown process to look and act like something else. Regardless of the extent of this mimicry, instances of SCP-3035 still retain many of the characteristics associated with cockroaches. So it's like... Oh, it says SPCs? Fuck, I need to change that. Let me... Thank you for that. It's 3 letters and I still fuck it up. Updates. I've been spelling it real good this whole time, and yet... One day I hope I'll be able to stream like a good little gremlin. But unfortunately we're not yet at that point. Okay, let me drink a sip of tea. Okay, so I guess I'm drawing cockroaches. I'm just drawing cockroaches that act like what are animals that do mimicry? I guess like corvids, they do like mimicry, but it's like only voice mimicry. I don't know about what animals like also mimic behaviors. I mean, humans do it, sure, but okay. Okay, let me look at that picture of like an American cockroach. They're basically like this, and then they have this, and then they have a head, and then they have really long little antennae. It's to detect the mimicable things with. It's like they, you know, what's the word again? They need like tactile inputs. Okay, and they have like 6 legs. Okay, wait, no. That's not right. Now it looks like a tick with long antennae. So they have, okay, wait, they have front legs, and then they have like side legs that are like this. And what looks like some leggies here. And they have like wings, I think. I'm not quite sure. I don't think it really resembles a cockroach, but I now need to do something to make it seem like it's mimicking something. Maybe it's trying to mimic a rabbit, and I'm gonna like make it do its antennae go up. So there's a rabbit. Wait. No, a rabbit is fuck. They have like a big like fluff underbutt, and they have those ears. And then they have the Miffy mouth. I'll just draw Miffy, I guess. Like a fucked up Miffy. And then, okay, wait. There's the Miffy. So then the cockroach sees that. And I need to, how do I flip horizontal? Right. And that cockroach is looking at that bunny, thinking I need to behave like that bunny. So what the cockroach does is it has its antennae pointing up like the bunny does. And that's how it wins, I think. See, now it's just like a bunny. Wow. It's amazing transformation there. Now that bunny will think that's a really fucked up looking bunny, but I think it's a bunny. Until it tries to speak in bunny language, and then the bunny is like, I don't trust you. What SCP is this? SCP... SCP 3035. Maybe we'll give them tiny little eyes with which they can scan the bunny. Oh. Maybe they're also doing the no, actually that's beautiful. That's a good eye. And the bunny knows nothing because SCP-3035 is so good at blending in that even a bunny can see that it's a cockroach. I think that's incredibly powerful. Okay. Add a new layer. I think the cockroach was like orange, so no, that's not orange. It needs to be oranger. Yeah. It's just like bright orange. This guy played Half-Life 1 and 2. Big Valve head, because they also use orange in Portal. Hmm. I still think it's so weird that media request just isn't working. I don't know what's going on there. There seems to be a problem even on like browsers, so I have no clue what's going on there. Of course, you need to be able to see it has that big eye to look at the bunny with. And honestly, the bunny can just be white, just like Miffy. Oh, sick. Okay, no, actually, I made that white, and now it looks kind of sick. Actually, it looks like that, like he's doing some twisted magics, kind of like that actually. Yeah. Okay, I'm keeping it. Yeah. Okay. This is just the cockroach using its mind powers to like detect how to bunny. Um. Okay, let me like do like a zoom in of like what is happening. Like the cockroach is like doing like big brain maneuver. It's like sweating a lot. Wait, it's a lot of like sweat droplets because they're trying to be a bunny. And the bunny is thinking of like hay or something it can eat. Food basically. Yeah, but carrots are like carrots are the the false truths that have been fed to us by Looney Tunes. But a carrot would be like the standard. Like yeah, bunnies think of carrots. Wait, let me actually to make it even more apparent. Let me do like fucking like flames. Like this dude is like really like doing their best to like to assimilate Bunny. bunnies like dandelion leaves? I don't know how to draw those, but I can just make it green and then say it's dandelion leaves. Oh, they're like the prickly ones, right? They're like the prickly leaves. Yeah. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. I think that's pretty clearly dandelion leaves. So, that's SCP-3035. Okay. I have to say, I'm getting a little bit bored of just trying to really be detailed as I've been. So I'm gonna try to draw them as quickly as I can. This is called SCP-3035. We're off to the next SCP, which is... Let me look for a second. You know, some SCPs just aren't. They're just places, and I want to draw a guy. So I'm just gonna look up I'm just gonna Google SCPs. SCP creatures maybe. Maybe I just need to look at the classic SCPs. Ah, yes, okay. The classic SCPs just actually have kind of a description in the title. So let's look at that for a second. Skeleton Key, Fountain of Youth, Abdominal Planet, Zombie Plague, Red Eyes, Calls of Control, Bad Composition, Blue Lady Cigarettes, The Concrete Man, Sentient Microorganism, Skin Worm, God, The Homunculus. Okay, I wanna. That's just me being a Full Metal Alchemist fan popping up. But what's the description? SCP-030 appears as a hairless, genderless, gray-toned human 71 centimeters in height and weighing 12.7 kilograms. Its solid blue eyes lack discernible irises or pupils and resemble small cut sapphires. It possesses an androgynous voice with a pronounced English accent, not currently identifiable as specific to any modern region. It is able to converse, read, and write in ancient Greek, Latin, Italian, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, as well as two additional languages that have not yet been identified, despite SCP-303's insistence that they should be common knowledge. SCP-030 has also demonstrated knowledge of physics, chemistry, astronomy, mathematics, and horticulture, roughly equivalent to that of a 17th century CE academic. Damn, okay. In addition, SCP-303, or 030, has demonstrated knowledge on these topics along research lines that do not appear in the historical records. These alternative or entirely unknown approaches to research in the natural sciences are one source of SCP-030's utility in consultation. Okay. Sounds like a neat little guy. Let's try speed drawing him. And okay. I'm just gonna look at my phone and like set like a little timer. And then try to draw this hairless, genderless, grey-toned human of 71 centimeters tall in 1 minute. Let's go. Wait, let me first. Okay, let's go. So it's just a human, and I'm already really good at drawing those. So this one has like big feet for some reason. It's because they're 71 centimeters. You know, when they can be toppled over by the wind easily, but not thanks to those feet. Those are keeping them in balance. I think that's how biology works. Okay, and they're hairless, so I don't have to draw hair. And then, okay, like a nose. It does, I think, have a mouth and eyes. And I think that's it. I'll give it a belly button. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's SCP 030. Oh my god, it looks like the the uwu face doing a kiss. I hadn't realized. Truly a true Renaissance guy. Look at how happy he is. Okay, I'll make him gray just so he can be truly himself. Oh, I didn't give him toes. That's fine, right? I guess not having toes makes balancing harder again. So like you get the long feet for balance, but then you lose the toes to make it hard again. I guess it balances out. I again don't know how biology works, but I think that's how biology works. Probably not that far off, right? Okay, and it had like sapphire blue eyes, so that's like really blue. Biology, that's right. And I guess the insides are also gray, so I'll just like make that a little darker. And that's SCP Uwu face. And the Uwu, this is SCP Uwu. Okay. Okay, I'm actually liking the format of trying to draw them really quickly better, so I'm gonna be doing that for the next one as well. Okay. The Vermin God. Missing number. Obsidian ritual knife. Oh, I want to draw a knife. That sounds cool. Wait, what's the description? SCP is a primitive knife constructed out of pure obsidian. Tests reveal that SCP-034 is approximately 1,000 years old. Despite its crude method of construction and age, SCP-034 is still incredibly sharp and requires no maintenance to retain its edge. It's pretty, it's pretty edgy, pretty edgy knife. Get it? Expert analysis hypothesizes that SCP-034, I can't read numbers, may be of South American origin and that it may have been used in Native American rituals. Okay. I don't know if this is a racist one. I hope it's not. Several accounts from Spanish conquistadors exploring the so-and-so region support this hypothesis with detailed writings on how so-and-so priests would flay their victims alive with similar lives and wear their skin as tribute to their gods. Okay, this one feels racist, so I'm clicking away. The Beetle. I already did a book. World War II Aero Molecular Fission Cannon. Cursed SCP number. Plague Doctor. Plague Doctor? Let's see. Who's the Plague Doctor? Oh my god. I love this fucking dude. Look at the expression. It feels like they drew in like a Dwayne The Rock Johnson eyebrow wiggle. Oh, they like legit have a beak. That's crazy. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height. That's tall, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. Which I also hear tell that plague doctors didn't actually look like the big guys, like as we know it, like plague doctor masks. I believe were a little bit different from how we think they are. I think they look like if I'm not mistaken, I think they look like they don't look as beaky. But I might be misinformed, I don't know. While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that despite this, SCP-049 does have a human skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. Not medieval English, I guess, but medieval French for sure. It's generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff. It can become especially irritated or at times outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to 049. Okay. Okay, so it's like it's a big guy. Yeah, it's a cool plague doctor, right? Okay, let's try drawing him. Let's see how good I can draw that guy. Have him like pulled up next to me, and okay, I'm gonna like set a timer again for 1 minute, trying to draw the plague doctor. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, so first of all, important is beak. And okay, wait, he has the eyes, but their eyes seem kind of dark, with like white pupils, a little bit like Beryl, and he has the Dwayne the Rock Johnson eyebrow. And then they have like a cap. This is like dark. Actually, the whole thing is dark. I think the plague doctors just like wore like big dresses. So it's just like he has like sleeves and then like a big dress. And that's him. God, I'm so quick with this. That's him. I did it. Within a minute time. I'll just like color him though. Yeah. Let me do the cool artsy thing of doing the outline. Sick. Well, that's SCP 069. No, it's SCP. Oh, now I want to know what SCP-69 is. Okay, this SCP-049. Okay, now what? Now I do want to know who SCP-69 is. Let's see. Okay, SCP-69 is called Second Chance. Let's have a. I'm currently impersonating somebody. Okay. SCP-069 is a presumed humanoid entity of variable appearance and gender. Oh, they're like a shapeshifter? Through an unknown ability, whenever SCP-069 is left alone with a recently deceased human body, the body will disappear, and SCP-069 will take on the appearance, mannerisms, and knowledge of the recently dead individual. Through extensive experimentation, it has been shown that SCP-069 is completely indistinguishable from the individual it impersonates, matching the original individual's fingerprints, DNA, and data expunged. We're not allowed to know what else. With nearly perfect precision. SCP-069 retains no knowledge of its abilities or former impersonations, so it doesn't seem to be aware. Almost like a sort of like reincarnation thing going on, I guess. SCP-069 responds normally to injury and pain, but if killed, will rapidly decay into dust, regardless of any preservation attempts. SCP-069 will then re-emerge at the site of the most recent human death. There is no known maximum range to this effect, and so far has been observed in jumps up to 675 kilometers. Yes, SCP, nice. Okay, let's draw SCP funny sex number. And okay, this one is gonna be more complex because I have to draw like the dead person like turning into dust, and also the SCP turning into them. So, okay, I don't know if I can do that in 1 minute. I'll try it in 1 minute. Let's see. Okay, let's go. So there's a person here. They're like lying. They're lying on the floor. Like maybe one of their legs is already turning to dust. Like, you know, they're like, ah, I'm turning to dust. Like in all the time traveler movies. Or like, that Disney movie series. Okay, like this way you know they're dead. And then this is the SCP. They look exactly like this guy because this guy is just a stick figure, so it's very easy to impersonate. Okay, I need to give him some traits that make him like oh shit, I'm not even showing the screen. That's fine. Because look, this is what you've been missing. And I've already gone over a minute, so I'm gonna give myself another minute. Just so again, because I am drunk too, guys. So this guy um had like really like prickly hair. And so the SCP also has really prickly hair. That way you can, that way you know, right? Yeah. Maybe I'll give him some sick clothes. With like stripes, so you know he's hardcore. Or a kid. You know how many media like do like the striped shirts to show that they're a kid? Like that's peak kid fashion, or it used to be. I don't think that's as peak kid fashion anymore. And yeah, that's SCP nice. And maybe he uses like laser beam eyes to like, oh, or like do like scanning to like scan the guy so they know exactly like what to copy. I don't know. Yeah, that's SCP nice. Let me also color that. And no, maybe he was like wearing like bright yellow pants. No, that looks like he pissed himself. Never mind. I'll make him hot pink. That will clash really nicely with his shirt. Now that's a fashion statement not a lot of people will dare to tap into. So that way you know it's that guy. Then as for shoes, they probably, you know, for the shoes, this person was like, "Yep, okay, I'll calm down. I'll just get black shoes." Yeah, that's SCP nice. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna do one more guy. Oh, I've almost been streaming for 1.5 hours, but I did like spend some of that time troubleshooting, so I don't know. Okay, now I need to not forget to turn the screen back to the drawing program when I do it next. Let's see. Quantum woodlouse. Corrosive snail. Rot skull. Old AI dog form. The Lizard King. The fuck is that? SCP-088 was recovered in the 1930s from a subterranean complex below Los Angeles, California. The site was originally discovered by GWS using a device he called a radio X-ray, which was little more than a mechanical dowsing rod. While as his methods were dubious, his discovery was not. After mapping a series of tunnels and gold deposits below the city, S declared that he had found the lost city of the lizard people, as described in the legends of Arizona's Hopi tribe. S claims went as far as to be featured on the front page of the Los Angeles Times before the Foundation was able to verify his claim. Silent Mr. S. Okay. I don't know if I want to do this one. It's like... I don't know if that is a real thing. Okay. Lizard people. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I did not want to print. Why am I printing? Okay, I don't want to look up lizard people. Okay, lizards are a Hopi symbol of longevity. So is that like a thing? I know Wikipedia is like the best source, but let me like look at this real quick. Most creation stories of the Hopi center around Tara, the sun spirit. Tara is the creator, and it was also he who formed the first world out of Topella, or endless space, as well as its original inhabitants. Still traditional for Hopi mothers to seek a blessing from the sun for the newborn children. Spider-Woman, who served as a messenger for the creator and was an intercessor between the deity and the people. She creates all life under the direction of Sto-Tuknum. Yet other stories tell that life was created by a hard-being woman of the west and a hard-being woman of the east, while the sun merely observed the process. Oh, life was created by two women. That's cool. Masao. Skeleton Man was a spirit of death, earth god, door keeper to the fifth world, and keeper of fire. Star. So describe him some. Let me control F lizard. It doesn't show anything lizard. So I don't know. Is there like a thing? Like, I mean, it was like a symbol of longevity, but I don't know if this is like a. Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if it's a respectful reference or not. That's. So let's not do that. Miniature event, Red Sea object. Let's wait. Actually, the shy guy, is that like the shy guy from Mario? Description is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. Okay, let me take a sip. Subject shows very little muscle mass with preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. This is also a bald guy again. And their jaw can open four times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human, with the exception of the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. Sort of red, I think? It is not yet known whether SCP-096 is blind or not. It shows no sign of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. Oh, don't just want to make a bald dude again. Oh, that's a cube. Let's maybe this is like an interesting cube. Is a black cubic structure 20 by 20 by 20 centimeters made of an unknown ceramic material. Object is classified as indestructible. Each side is divided into 10,000 individual squares in arrangement similar to a Rubik's Cube. Oh my god, it's just like a really, really complex Rubik's Cube for... Oh, okay. So, yeah, so white people are just shitty, huh? Yeah, no, I had a feeling when I saw that. Oh, I had a feeling that it was just like sort of like objectifying and simplifying and giving it other meaning than it actually has. This is basically just like like a hard mode Rubik's Cube. 2 millimeters wide. Each segment is 2 millimeters by 2 millimeters. And each 2 millimeter square has part of a design etched into the surface, which glow white. That sounds very cool, but I can't do like 100 by 100 square. That's too much. That's too much for me. What's a Red Sea object? It's a primary red disc carved from stone composite resembling cinnabar, with circular engravings and unknown symbols carved at a 0.5 centimeter depth about the entire object. Deeper cuts are present on SCP with a depth of 1 to 1.5 centimeters. An SCP is 7.62 centimeters in diameter and fits comfortably into most palms without abrasion. SCP-093 will change hue when held by a living individual. The colors taken by SCP-093 are still being researched to establish a link. Current belief holds that the changes depend upon regrets carried by the holder. If SCP-093 is removed from a mirror and not held by a person, it will seek out the nearest mirror-like surface. SCP-093 has been observed to travel in the largest possible circle while rolling, building up phenomenal speed. The mechanism of this acceleration is currently unknown. If an obstacle is between SCP-093 and the nearest mirror-like surface, it will use this momentum to punch through the obstacle and continue on its course at this speed. It will only stop when a mirror-like surface is contacted. Despite tremendous impact velocities, no damage will be dealt to SCP-093 or the mirror. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. I wonder if it's if it's like a living rock that wants to go back to the mirror world or something. Well, let me draw this cool like vinyl record or something. If I got a round brush, I can simply just make it like this. Circles are pretty hard, we'll say. It kind of looks like I'm trying to like make like a botched Japanese flag, but no, that's not what I'm doing here. Okay, what did it say? A red disc resembling Cinnabar. What does Cinnabar look like? Okay, Cinnabar has a lot of like it's like white and brown and red. So I guess I'll draw some whites and brown specks on it. Maybe like more like some stains. And then brown. And it has like engravings. With unknown symbols. Okay, well, they're unknown, so... Maybe I'll just like draw guys. Maybe they're unknown because I am on them. This is what I look like. Yeah, maybe it's just like a circle with me on it. I am just a placeholder. I don't know what to draw. It's very hard to draw things the same. I can probably fit two guys. Okay. And then, I don't know. Just some squiggles. This kind of looks like a pizza, doesn't it? Well, let's just make it I'll just make it like a cool vinyl record. Yeah, this the SCP vinyl record that just wants to spin. Yeah. What was the name again? SCP 093. Okay, I think I'm leaving it at drawing SCPs. I'm kind of out of SCP computing technology. Like, the technology in my gremlin brain is running out. And I don't know. I don't know if I should do anything else. I have been going less than 2 hours, so maybe what could I do? What can I do? Let me save this very important SCP file first before I throw it away. Perhaps. React to Gala, Mad Gala fashion? No. No! But I can read. Actually, I have a creepy story I can read. So let's see. How do how do I make this spooky? Oh, I've got something absolutely horrid. If Google will let me. So it's just like... Please be patient for 1 second. Very, very spooky. Yeah, okay. Now it's spooky. This is just like a free-to-use HD stock video footage by Jeffrey Beach. Super spooky. Thank you. I used Google very good to get this. Still... I still wanna look. I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to hear music. Do you still not hear music? I'll just wait for a minute to get the feedback if you can hear any music at all. Because I am playing Silent Hill music, and also my audio mixer definitely says it's like outputting the music. What the fuck? Why are you not hearing? I don't fucking get it. What the hell? What is going on? I feel like I'm going insane. Okay, this is I'm just being bullied. This is so strange. Do you hear anything now? I have no clue what the fuck is going on then. It like OBS is telling me it's outputting audio from the desktop. I have no idea what's happening. I'm actually so upset because I have like some good Silent Hill music that's good for scary stories. And now it's all gone to shit. This stream has gone to shit. I don't even, honestly, I kind of feel bad about this stream now. It seems like it's just like gone wrong in all the ways it can go wrong. I don't understand. Whatever, I'll read some spooky stories. I'll read some habit. I'll read some. All right. There's this dude called Samuel Singer, and he has this series of spooky stories. Called Habitsville, or like the peculiar stories of Habitsville, I think. But where can I find them? Habitsville. Okay, cool. You're putting on your own. Thank you. Okay. Okay, let me have like a sip um before I continue. You're gonna go to sleep in 15 minutes. Well, I'll I'll read this one story. I think it's about that time, so maybe I'll be able to like really quickly read it. Yeah, okay. The story is called let me actually put some text on screen. Oh, that's big. Reading. Okay, that can be bigger actually. Silent Hill music is terrifying. Put on like relaxing Silent Hill music. Silent Hill music might be a bit like too high strung. The ones that are like during like battles and stuff. Reading habitsville stories. Currently reading. If you give him a tooth, he'll play you a memory. Yeah, the like sort of like toned down. The sort of toned down Silent Hill like relaxed stuff is very pretty. Okay, here we go. If you give him a tooth, he'll play you a memory. Hi, it's Sam Singer again. Sam Singer is, by the way, the main character, I think, in all of these stories. He's the guy who connects you to the strange town of Habitsville. Not far from my place in Habitsville, there's a piano bar. It's literally called the Piano Bar. One of those places with the ironically obvious name. I'd never been there before. Uh, I know, yet another place in my own hometown that I've never visit. Whoa, okay. I know, yet another place in my own hometown that I've never visited. I don't get out much. I'd heard about the piano bar from a new intern at the Habitsville Gazette, Luke. Luke is a young, goofy kid in his second year of college, and if I had to guess, I wouldn't say he was particularly socially skilled or especially popular. Okay, damn Sam. He wore those really square and large wire-framed glasses that made him look far too intellectual, even though in reality he wasn't at all. Damn, you just keep coming for this dude. He can't help that he needs to wear glasses. So I immediately thought it was odd that he frequented a high-end piano bar in downtown Habitsville, because apparently you can't appreciate piano music. Okay, I'll keep reading. The music that drifted out of it was either classical or jazz, and the people I saw entering and leaving were always dressed up. It was a really fancy place. But still, Luke continually vouched for the place, saying that it had even become a nightly routine of his to finish up his work at the paper and then head down to the piano bar. And at first, I didn't think too much about his newfound passion. You know, it's good for him, but then I noticed the holes in his mouth. specifically in his teeth. Missing teeth. I hadn't seen them initially. I believe this was because it was the back molars that went missing first. But after a few days, the gaps began creeping in towards the center until I couldn't not see them. So even though it seemed sort of rude, and I didn't know Luke all that well, I decided to ask. Luke, I had started, as we were about to leave for the night. Do you mind if I ask you an odd question? And he smiled at me, that bright smile of the young and disillusioned, minus a few teeth. Go for it, he answered. I tried to keep my gaze from drifting to the peaks of thrashing tongue I could see through the dark spaces in his gums, and instead strove to maintain eye contact. So I cleared my throat. What happened to your teeth? Just fell out. To my great surprise, he didn't seem offended or even taken aback by my sudden inquiry. Instead, his broken grin only widened. I told you. I've been going to the piano bar every night. I waited for more details to come, but none did. So, that took your teeth? So he laughed, a wet, soft sound. Like, I guess. I know it sounds weird, but trust me, it's worth it. And then he said something that for the life of me, I couldn't wrap my head around. If you give the piano man a tooth, he'll play you a memory. I opened my mouth to ask a follow-up question, but Luke's back was already on his shoulder. I've really got to get going, he said hurriedly. You've kind of got to get there early if you want him to play you a song, or else, you know. He finished, but of course I didn't know. Luke seemed really anxious to leave, so I bid him good night, and we both left, heading in opposite directions, he to the piano bar, and me to my home, to sit and stew over what I had been told. And then, the next day, Luke didn't show up for work. We thought he might have been ill, and like the kid that he is, forgotten to call in and let us know he wouldn't be coming in that day. But then the next day came, and still there was no Luke. We sent someone to go around his apartment and knock on the door, but there was no answer. I knew it was quite a leap in logic to make, but the investigative reporter inside of me couldn't seem to shake the idea that the piano bar had something to do with Luke's disappearance. So that's why, on a Thursday night, I found myself severely underdressed and seated on a stool in the darkest corner of the mysterious piano bar. There were all sorts in the crowd that night, people I had never seen on the streets or in the shops around Habitsville. I wonder if they had from out of town just to come. I wonder if they had. I guess it. Okay, wait. I think this sentence is. I wonder if they had come from out of town just to be there. But the main site was in the very center of the room. It was a huge piano, grand in every sense of the word. Although the bar itself was dimly lit and a tad smoky, every ounce of light in the space was reflected against the jet-black sheen of the great instrument. On top of the piano, in an odd sort of display, were an assortment of objects. There was an elaborate hairpin with a metal bumblebee on the end, a few assorted rings, a pair of gloves. But there was one item in particular that caught my eye because they were so familiar. Large, square, wire-framed glasses. I could hear bits and pieces of ambient music coming from the keys, stroked by the fingers of one of the most striking human beings I had ever seen. The piano man. His hair was perfectly sculpted and his suit was dark green velvet with a silky black bow tie. His hands moved steadily across the keys, but his eyes weren't watching them. Instead, his irises, nearly the same green as his suit, wandered over the shattering crowd, a content smile on his closed lips. I jumped as a loud bell tolled through the room, though no one else seemed to share my reaction. Immediately, all of the patrons fell silent, and there was a great shift as each of them turned their attention and their bodies towards the piano man, like planets orbiting some bright sun. He had stopped playing, the final notes echoing in the air as he pulled his hands back and gracefully stood up from his bench. He took a moment, in the silence, to gaze over the crowd, turning a full circle around the room. There was a moment when I felt as though he met my eyes, and a shiver ran down my spine. Then suddenly, he reached out his arm and pointed. The woman at the end of his finger immediately turned red and uneasily gestured to herself. "Me?" I heard her say. "Yes, of course you," the man answered, in a voice as smooth as silk and warm as summer. Okay, let me try that again. "Yes, of course you," the piano man answered in a voice as smooth as silk and warm as summer as Eddie, am able to manage. The woman clasped her hands together, the look on her face that of pure joy. She stepped forward, separating herself from the rest of the crowd. The piano man stared at her for another moment before sitting back down to his bench. There was a breath, a second of ringing silence, and then he played the most beautiful music I had ever heard in my life. I'm not a big music person, I admit. I don't know composers besides the basics, and even less actual pieces. I'm more of a podcast guy, to be sure, but there was something about this that was different. It was hypnotic, almost. There was no way to tell how long the actual song was, because from the moment it began to the second it ended, it was as though I was suspended in a trance of joyful derealization. But eventually the last note was played. My eyes refocused, and I saw that although the song had quite an impact on myself, it was even more transformative to the woman the piano man had chosen. She was sobbing, large tears rolling down her cheeks, her shoulders shaking with emotion. When the piano man stood up again, he immediately wrapped his arms around her. No, she wrapped her arms around him. Although it was muffled, I could hear her say, thank you," over and over as the crowd began to applaud enthusiastically. The piano man waited a moment, and then gently pushed the woman back. The applause died down. The piano man looked the woman right in the eyes, and then he grinned. And I could see, even from the corner where I was sitting, that he was missing teeth. There were 3 open spaces in his mouth, 2 in the bottom, and 1 on the left of his very front teeth. He smiled at the woman, who was still racked with the emotions the performance had brought on. Then he spoke. "Time for your payment." There was a flash of something like fear on the woman's face, but then she nodded and she did something incredibly strange, something that I did not expect at all. She opened her mouth. The piano man raised his hand, the same one that had played the key so beautifully and elegantly. He slowly brought it forwards until the majority of it was in the woman's mouth. I could hear her breathing, fast and wheezy with the obstruction. Her eyes watered even more than they had before, and she let out a few high-pitched squeaks of pain. The piano man's arm began to vibrate with effort. The woman's face turned a violent shade of red, and then the piano man's hand re-emerged, and I could see it between his fingertips. Pink with blood, but shining all the same, was 1 large tooth, pulled out to the roots. That's impressive. A line of blood dripped from the woman's open mouth as she brought a comforting hand to the side of her jaw. She stepped backwards to a spot in the crowd. A few patted her on the shoulder, but most had their attention still turned to the main man in a green suit in the center of the room. He stared at the tooth and held it aloft to the light, as though admiring a pearl he just pulled from a clam. Yeah, that's gotta hurt. Ugh. And then he did something that's so odd. I had doubted I had seen it correctly. He threw it directly up in the air, like tossing a coin, and as it fell down, he opened its jaw wide and caught it in his mouth. And then, with one heavy wet sound, he swallowed it. Like, like a big wet swallow. Let me gulp too. I don't know if you heard that, but if you did, I guess that's what it sounded like. But he wasn't done. He brought one of his hands to his face, the thumb and pointer finger pressed into a crescent. He stuck his fingers into his mouth, breathed in hard, and exhaled. And then there was a high-pitched whistle, and an audible snap resonated in the room. The piano man paused, and then he smiled for his audience, and I could see that which was impossible. One of the spaces in his bottom teeth had filled in, as though nothing had ever been missing to begin with. It was incredible. Of course it was incredible. He did it one more time that night, nearly the same start to finish. Only it was a man the second time, and the melody he played was a bit different, sadder somehow, but still absolutely riveting. He pulled the tooth, swallowed it, whistled, and the other spot on his bottom row was filled in. And then, as the room watched in silence, he walked away from the piano and out of the front door of the bar. Just like that. In a few minutes, the patrons too left the piano bar. They milled about on the street outside, chatting and smoking. But there was no sign of the piano man, so I tried to glean some more information from the conversations of the various groups. It's amazing, isn't it? The woman who was chosen for the first song was saying. I saw her. I really saw her. I saw my mother. It's truly remarkable, the man she was speaking to replied. A pity about the tooth, though. I must have been standing a bit too close to them, because soon he seemed to notice that I was lurking nearby. Can we help you? He asked, with an unsubtle glance at my lackluster wardrobe. Judgy. I was wondering, I wanted to know. It's hard when your questions are so big to put them into confines of words. What was that in there? The woman raised her eyebrows. Have you never been to the piano bar, dear? She asked, then winced, placing her hand back onto her cheek, which was starting to swell. I shook my head. Oh, well, what a treat for you. She attempted a smile, then dropped it once she felt the pain. It's really quite simple. The piano man takes a single tooth from you, and in exchange, he'll let you relive a memory you've forgotten. I shook my head. What do you mean, a memory you've forgotten? The man gave him an impatient huff. Well, it's exactly as it sounds, boy. Be patient with it, Rupert, the woman scolded. She looked back to me kindly. To be honest, no one's quite sure how he does it. But if the piano man chooses you, he's able to play you a song that will help you remember something you don't know you've forgotten. Something you don't know is important. Her voice grew soft and misty and her eyes shimmered. I saw an afternoon with my mother when I was 4. We had tomato sandwiches by the lake. She braided my hair. I was too young to remember, but now my mother's gone, and I want every piece of her that I can get. I tried to understand what she was saying. But your tooth? She shook her head, once again fighting a smile back down. For the chance to have a little bit more time with someone you've lost. What would you not be willing to give up for something like that? I nodded, though the entire thing was difficult to believe. There had to have been something about the music, something in the air, and the fact that people were so willing to pay in pain for each performance. Thank you, I think. I'll come back tomorrow night. There was a falter in the woman's expression. The man put his hand on her shoulder, and she stopped speaking. You do that, son. Come on, Bunny. We've got to be getting home. The woman, Bunny, looked at me for another moment, as though she wanted to say something. Then she turned, and the two of them walked back down the street. Despite the odd feeling that Bunny had given me, I did come back the next night. I sat in the same seat, a stool near the back, and the rest of the piano bar was almost identical to what it had been the first night. Except for a few things. For one, the crowd was much smaller. It was thinned out considerably since the previous performance, and those that were there had an odd atmosphere to them. It seemed nervous almost. A certain apprehension that hadn't been there on the previous nights. Secondly, the piano man himself wasn't playing idling little melodies in the center of the room. Instead, he was playing with gusto at full volume. There was an energy to him that evening, an eagerness, and it was coming out in some of the most elaborate piano playing I had ever seen and heard. Still, his eyes didn't watch his hand and instead scanned the room. I could see the one remaining gap in his teeth, black and hollow through the thin sneer of his lips. There was a man sitting next to me that night, and, like me, he didn't seem quite like he belonged there. He wore a collared shirt and worn khakis, and I got the impression that those were probably the nicest clothes he had. Something he wore to church on Sundays. Despite this, he was wearing a faded blue baseball cap that was rimmed around the brim, nearly falling apart. Let me take a sip. He was in his late 40s, though his face was lined far more than his years would suggest. How would he know? His hands were rough and cracked, and he picked at his fingers. He watched the piano man closely, and his leg shook restlessly. Are you looking forward to the show? I asked him tentatively. He gave me a sideways glance, and his leg stopped moving. Yes, no, I don't know. He paused for a moment, and I thought perhaps that was all he was going to say. I just hope he picks me. Really? I asked, trying to remain casually curious. What are you hoping to see? He gave me another sideways look, and I thought for a moment that I had overstepped. This was a personal thing, after all, but then he answered. My son. Oh, I said, surprised. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, he said dismissively. He was so young when he, and I wasn't much of a father then, and I wasn't around like I was supposed to be, and when I was... He trailed off, and I could tell how much it pained him to even speak on the topic. He reached up, his fingertips brushing gently against the torn brim of his hat. This is the hat I got at the first baseball game we went to. First and only. He finished with a sigh. He brought his hand back up to his lap. I just wanted to see what I was missing, no matter the cost. I nodded, a brief pang of sadness resonating in my chest for this stranger. Well, it seems like the cost is only one tooth, so that's not bad, right? The man raised his eyebrow at me, and I immediately got the sense that I was missing something. The price is a bit steeper tonight, pal. Before I could ask any more questions, that was again. The bell tolled, and all attention turned to the center of the room. The piano man finished his song with a flourish, and quite literally jumped up from his bench. He surveyed the crowd with excitement, his tongue peeking out of his mouth and licking his lips as he swiveled his head around. Again, I thought for a moment that he had caught my eye, and I fought to look away. Then he raised his arm and pointed. The man next to me, whose name I never caught, got up from his stool and made his way to the center of the piano bar. Hello, sir, the piano man said with a disarming relish. Thank you so much for volunteering. The man hadn't made any sound or gesture, as far as I could tell. Somehow the piano man could tell that he wanted to be chosen. The man didn't say anything. The piano man stepped back around to his piano, sat at his bench, and began to play. I couldn't see the memory that the piano man's song played, but I could certainly feel it. It was like a deep, aching nostalgia deep in my stomach, for something I had never experienced. Not just never experienced, something that I desperately yearned for. I felt that pure sensation of want so terribly. It made my eyes water. And then it was over. That was the shortest song yet. I looked to the man. He was still standing straight, but his hands were clenched into fists at his sides. His hat was low over his eyes, but there were tears rolling down his cheeks, and though he tried to contain it, a great cough of a sob came from his throat, strangled and sad. The piano man gave him a moment. Then he stood, grinning ear to ear. He put a hand on the man's shoulder. Time for your payment. The man hesitated, but only for a moment. Then his jaw fell open, and he let the piano man reach inside. He didn't stick his hand in far, and in fact only grabbed hold of one of the man's front teeth. Then he began to pull. The man let out a long groan as they struggled, and then, crack! The piano man held the tooth aloft, an expression of sheer delight on his face. The man looked at it, his face stony. Then, just as he had the night before, the piano man tossed the tooth high up in the air, threw his head back, and caught it in his mouth. He swallowed it. Then he brought his fingers to his mouth. The whistle was so loud and shrill, the members of the audience had to cover their ears. A trickle of blood ran down my eardrums to my neck as I uncovered them, but I could still hear it when... Snap! The piano man smiled, a full, complete smile. His teeth, if I can truly call them his teeth, shone like jewels in the light of the piano bar. Then he opened his jaw wide, and then he opened it wider, and wider, and wider. The man who had given him his final tooth hadn't stepped back to join the crowd. Instead, he stood, his head down, his shoulders tensed. The piano man wiped his mouth and adjusted his velvet green suit. He bent down and picked up the worn blue baseball cap that had landed on the floor of the piano bar. He glided back to his instrument and placed the head on the gleaming surface of his piano, right next to the large, square, wire-framed glasses. Then he smiled a toothless, gummy grin. And that's the end of that story. What did you think? That's it's pretty wild, right? He eats people. My throat is a little scratchy now though, so I think I'm gonna leave it there. But thanks for... Yeah, that's the ending. I know. The ending is that he eats the people. Yeah, I know. It's because I also wonder, like, even though that guy, like, knows that he was gonna die because he was aware. Like, I guess the piano man demands a sacrifice. Not only teeth, but also he needs to eat a guy sometimes. What I do wonder is, why does that reset his teeth? And all of that, but I think the point is kind of that he's mysterious and weird. And you don't know what the fuck is going on there. But he just takes your teeth, and sometimes he takes a you. He takes a people. But, yeah, it's a spooky story, and I think the Habitsville stories are not always super knowable, I guess, but they're interesting. They're definitely interesting. They're a bit bizarre, and I can appreciate the wordness, the wordness of the weirdness. But that's been it. Yeah, how else are you gonna chew? That's such a good point. Yeah, that's it for tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. You know, I had fun to some extent. I guess I just maybe today just wasn't my day. Maybe today I'm just like a little lower energy, and I noticed I didn't like drawing the SCPs that much. So maybe that's not a thing for like future streams. Maybe something else. But yeah, maybe I'll just like play pathologic like Leslie keeps suggesting. But I'll look into what I'll do next time. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and watching and listening and talking in chats. I appreciate it a lot. And I'll see you later. Have a good night. En goodbye. Ah, nou, ik ben blij, Leslie. Sending some hearts. How do I send hearts? There we go. Good night, everybody.